Imagine Austria, a country of soaring mountains, grand palaces, and the echoes of timeless music. It's famous for skiers, pastries like Apfelstrudel, and the waltzes of Vienna. But Austria is more than a postcard. Its story is deep and complex. Once the heart of a vast empire, Austria's history is filled with powerful emperors, brilliant artists, and moments of both triumph and tragedy. The Habsburgs, its legendary rulers, shaped Europe for centuries. Vienna became a beacon for geniuses like Mozart and Freud, and a center of art and intellect. To understand Austria is to unlock a key part of Europe's story. We'll journey through 1,000 years, from a small borderland to a mighty empire, through golden ages and dark times to a modern, peaceful nation. This is Austria, a small country with a big history. Its legacy is not just about emperors, but about ideas, culture, and resilience. Let's look beyond the cliches and discover the real Austria. Join us as we travel through its remarkable past. The story of Austria is the story of Europe itself. Austria sits at Europe's crossroads, a meeting point of cultures, ideas, and empires. Its central location made it a hub for trade, politics, and migration. The Austrian Empire was a vibrant mix of Hungarians, Czechs, Poles, Slovaks, Croatians, and more. This diversity shaped Austria's food, music, and identity. Austria's history unfolds in 4 acts: humble beginnings, the rise of the Habsburgs, the Imperial Golden Age, and the challenges of the 20th century. After 2 world wars, Austria reinvented itself as a neutral, prosperous nation and a bridge between East and West. Today, it's a key member of the European Union. Austria's story is one of resilience and reinvention. It's not just a list of dates, it's a living history. Understanding Austria means understanding the heart of Europe. Its past continues to shape our world. Let's begin our journey. The drama of Austria awaits. Austria's origins lie in a rugged frontier, the Eastern March, created by Charlemagne as a buffer against Eastern invaders. Life here was tough forests, rivers, and fortified settlements defined the landscape. The people were farmers and soldiers, always on guard. The name Ostarrîchi, the Eastern Realm, first appeared in 996, echoing through history as Austria. For centuries, it was a minor territory, passed between noble families, focused on survival. Yet these early settlers laid the foundations for a future nation. They cleared land, built churches, and forged a resilient spirit. Austria's story began as a borderland, but its destiny was far greater. From humble beginnings, it would one day become the heart of a powerful empire. The seeds of greatness were sown in these challenging times. Austria's journey was just beginning. The next chapter would bring new rulers and new ambitions. Austria's fortunes changed with the Babenberg family in 976. Leopold of Babenberg became Margrave, and his dynasty ruled for nearly 270 years. They expanded Austria through smart marriages, deals, and wars, transforming it from a frontier to a flourishing principality. Monks brought farming, architecture, and learning, taming the wildland and building monasteries like Melk Abbey. In 1156, Henry II, Jasomir Gott, secured Austria's elevation to a duchy, moving the capital to Vienna, a decision that shaped history. Vienna, once a modest town, began its rise as a European capital. The Babenbergs' rule ended abruptly in 1246 with the death of Frederick II, leaving Austria without an heir. A power struggle followed, plunging the region into chaos. The duchy's fate hung in the balance, coveted by neighboring rulers. Austria's future was uncertain, but a new dynasty was about to emerge. The stage was set for a dramatic turn. Who would claim Austria and shape its destiny? The answer would come from an unexpected place. After the Babenbergs, Austria was up for grabs. Ottokar II of Bohemia seized control, but a new contender emerged, the Habsburgs, a family from Swabia. In 1273, Rudolf of Habsburg was elected Holy Roman Emperor, chosen for his supposed weakness. But Rudolf proved shrewd and ambitious. He challenged Ottokar, defeating him at the Battle of Machfeld in 1278 and claiming Austria for his family. This victory bound Austria's fate to the Habsburgs for over 600 years. The Habsburgs consolidated power, made Vienna their capital, and mastered the art of political marriage. Their motto, "Let others wage war, you, happy Austria, marry." Through strategic unions, they expanded their influence across Europe. Austria became the heart of a growing empire. The Habsburgs' rise was just beginning. Their legacy would shape the continent. Austria's golden age was on the horizon. The Habsburgs' greatest weapon wasn't the sword, it was the wedding ring. They forged alliances through marriage, expanding their realm without war. Emperor Maximilian I perfected this strategy, marrying his son Philip to Joanna of Spain. This union brought Spain, its Italian lands, and the Americas into the Habsburg orbit. Maximilian's grandchildren married into the royal families of Bohemia and Hungary. The Habsburgs became a global power, ruling a patchwork of territories across Europe. Their empire was multinational, with subjects speaking many languages. Governing such diversity required diplomacy and flexibility. The Habsburgs' marital strategy brought both power and complexity. Austria was now at the center of European affairs. The empire's reach was vast, but so were its challenges. The age of happy Austria had begun. The world would never be the same. Charles V inherited Austria, Spain, and the Americas, ruling an empire so vast the sun never set on it. But his empire was too large to govern alone, facing threats from France, the Ottomans, and the Protestant Reformation. Charles eventually split his empire, creating the Spanish and Austrian Habsburg branches. The Austrian Habsburgs would defend Central Europe for centuries, shaping their legacy. As the Habsburgs grew in power, so did their capital city. Vienna was transformed from a medieval town into a magnificent imperial residence. It became the political, social, and cultural heart of the vast empire. The emperors poured immense wealth into the city, determined to make it a capital worthy of their status. They expanded the Hofburg Palace, turning it into a sprawling complex of wings, courtyards, and grand apartments. This was not just a home for the emperor. It was the central nervous system of the empire, filled with government offices, archives, and courtiers from every corner of their lands. Life in Vienna revolved around the imperial court. The nobility from across the empire flocked to the city. They hoped to gain favor with the emperor, secure important positions, and participate in the glittering social life. They built their own lavish palaces, known as throughout the city, trying to outdo one another in luxury and style. This created a unique architectural landscape that still defines Vienna today. The city became a stage for elaborate ceremonies, grand balls, and formal processions. Everything was designed to project an image of power, stability, and divine authority. The emperor was the sun, and everyone else revolved around him. The city itself was protected by massive fortifications. These walls had proven their worth during the Turkish siege of 1529, and would do so again in another great siege in 1683. For centuries, Vienna was a fortress city. Life was lived within these protective walls. However, after the final defeat of the Ottomans at the gates of Vienna, a new era of confidence and creativity began. This victory ushered in the age of the Baroque. This new artistic style was all about drama, emotion, and grandeur. It was the perfect style for an empire that saw itself as the triumphant champion of Catholicism. Churches, palaces, and monuments were built in this exuberant new style. The most splendid example of this new confidence was the construction of Schönbrunn Palace, the Habsburg summer residence on the outskirts of the city. Inspired by the Palace of Versailles in France, Schönbrunn was designed to be a symbol of imperial power and taste. With its endless rooms, magnificent gardens, and the world's first zoo, it was a paradise created by the emperors for their court. Vienna was becoming more than just a political center. It was becoming a city of pleasure, a place where the rich and powerful could enjoy the finer things in life, setting the stage for its future role as a global capital of culture. While emperors ruled, Vienna became the heart of European music and art. Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven made Vienna the center of classical music genius. Later, the Strauss family filled the city with waltzes and joy. Vienna's love of music, art, and relaxed cafe life defined the good life. The 19th century in Austria began with a storm. Napoleon redrew Europe, dissolving the Holy Roman Empire. Austria tried to restore order, but beneath grand balls, nationalism spread. Ethnic groups demanded rights, tensions simmered, and the empire split into Austria-Hungary. By the 20th century, Austria-Hungary was a fragile mosaic, Europe's powder keg ready to explode. In June 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand visited Sarajevo, a city tense with nationalist unrest. Amid chaos, a failed assassination attempt was followed by a fatal twist of fate. Gavrilo Princip seized his chance, killing the Archduke and his wife. The spark in Sarajevo ignited World War I. After the assassination in Sarajevo, Vienna acted decisively. Backed by Germany, Austria-Hungary issued a harsh ultimatum to Serbia. The powder keg exploded. Alliances triggered a domino effect. A local conflict spiraled into a continent-wide catastrophe. The war was a grim industrial slaughter. By 1918, the Austro-Hungarian Empire was collapsing. Nationalist leaders declared independence. The empire vanished, shattered into independent states. After World War I, Austria was left a small struggling republic. Vienna, once imperial, now led a divided, impoverished nation. Political tensions and violence grew as rival parties clashed. Inspired by fascism, Austro-fascists seized power, banning opposition. In 1938, Nazi Germany annexed Austria. The First Republic was over. Austria's union with Nazi Germany brought war, destruction, and suffering. By 1945, Hitler was dead, the Third Reich in ruins, and Austria liberated but broken. Amidst hardship, Austrians cleared rubble and rebuilt, hoping for a new beginning. The 10 years of Allied occupation from 1945 to 1955 were a period of waiting and negotiation. The Cold War had begun, casting a long shadow over Europe. The world was dividing into two hostile camps, the West, led by the United States, and the East, led by the Soviet Union. Austria was stuck right in the middle, a frontline state in this new ideological conflict. This made the negotiations for its independence incredibly difficult. The Soviet Union was, really reluctant to give up its strategic position in Central Europe. They feared that a free Austria would simply join the Western military alliance, NATO, and become a threat on their doorstep. Austrian politicians worked tirelessly to find a solution. They had to prove to all four occupying powers that Austria could be a stable and reliable partner. The country received crucial economic help from the United States through the Marshall Plan. This aid helped to rebuild its industries and infrastructure, leading to a period of rapid economic growth known as the economic miracle. This growing prosperity helped to stabilize the country and showed the world that Austria was a viable, democratic nation. The government in Vienna consistently pursued a single diplomatic goal, a state treaty that would end the occupation. The breakthrough finally came in 1955. After years of stalemate, the Soviet Union signaled that it might be willing to agree to a treaty. The price for this agreement was a promise from Austria. The Austrian leaders traveled to Moscow and agreed that their country would adopt a policy of permanent neutrality. This meant Austria would not join any military alliances like NATO or the Warsaw Pact and would not allow any foreign military bases on its soil. This promise was the key that unlocked the door to freedom. It reassured the Soviets that Austria would not become part of the Western Bloc, making them willing to withdraw their troops. On May 15, 1955, a historic event took place at the Belvedere Palace in Vienna. The foreign ministers of the four Allied powers and Austria signed the Austrian State Treaty. This document officially re-established Austria as a fully independent and sovereign state. Crowds gathered outside the palace, and when the Austrian foreign minister, Leopold Figl, appeared on the balcony and held up the signed treaty, he famously declared, "Austria is free." It was a moment of immense joy and relief for the entire nation. After 17 years of foreign rule and occupation, Austria was once again the master of its own destiny. Austria declared permanent neutrality after the State Treaty. It became a bridge between East and West. Vienna emerged as a major international hub. Hosting the UN, it played a key diplomatic role. In 1995, Austria joined the European Union, marking a new chapter. Austria's story is one of survival and reinvention. From a small borderland to a mighty empire shattered by war, then reborn as a peaceful republic, Austria shows us that identity is not fixed. Even after losing everything, it rebuilt, proving the enduring power of the human spirit to start again. Austria today is a prosperous, stable democracy at the heart of Europe, blending imperial history with modern innovation. Vienna's vibrant culture, commitment to peace, and multicultural legacy make it a meeting ground for the world. Austria's story is one of resilience, music, and memory, offering hope and lessons for all of Europe.